In the previous episode, Damon was bitten by the werewolf Tyler while trying to save Caroline and Matt, leaving him on the brink of death. Now suffering from the effects of the werewolf bite, Damon wanders through the town in a rabid state, only to be found by Elena just in time. However, Damon starts hallucinating and mistakenly believes Elena is Catherine. 145 years ago, Damon had begged Catherine to turn him into a vampire. Catherine had slit her own throat, forcing him to make the choice himself. In the present, Damon pins Elena against the wall.
No.
I have to. If we are to be together forever.
No.
Thankfully, Damon snaps back to reality before draining Elena dry. At the bar, Caroline decides to come clean to her mother. She had erased her mother's memory in the past out of fear that she might do something drastic. Now, Caroline no longer wants to live a lie.
I'm still your little girl. It's me.
After downing several bags of blood, Stefan's entire demeanor shifts, even causing Klaus to remark that Stefan has become a truly dangerous man. When Klaus offers him another blood bag, Stefan's expression turns savage as he snatches it from Klaus's hand. Seeing that Stefan has been sufficiently molded, Klaus compels and controls Catherine, ordering her to deliver the cure to Damon. This command allows Catherine to finally leave the room she's been trapped in. However, Klaus is well aware that Catherine has consumed vervain, making her immune to compulsion. By sending Catherine to deliver the cure, Klaus is essentially placing Damon's life in Catherine's hands. But Catherine doesn't love Damon, so the antidote will most likely not reach Damon's hands. Klaus and Stefan know this very well. Elena brings Damon back to the mansion, intending to stay with him through his final moments. Damon reveals a deeply buried secret. Falling in love with Catherine was the greatest mistake of his life. And if he could do it all over again, he wishes it had been Elena he met first.
Hey, what I'm like today.
I like you now. Just the way you are.
Some might criticize Elena, but Damon is on the verge of death. After everything he's done for her, how could Elena deny him one last moment of solace? To Damon, receiving Elena's acknowledgement and kiss would mean he could die in peace.
Well, it's me you should be thanking.
Unexpectedly, Catherine arrives with the cure, though she claims it's to repay a debt. Can we really believe that she never loved Damon, not even once? Elena asks about Stefan's whereabouts, and Catherine reveals that Stefan paid the price for that cure. He sold his soul to the devil. As they are shocked, Catherine teases Elena and says,
It's okay to love them both. I did.
This comment shows that Catherine did, in fact, love Damon, but she loved Stefan a little more. Catherine is now free. Elena and Damon are very embarrassed. Does the touching confession just now still count? Klaus seals Elijah's body away, preparing to reunite him with their family. Before leaving town, he tests Stefan's loyalty one last time, binding a living victim and pushing Stefan to rediscover his Ripper instincts.
Now we can go.
After Jeremy came back to life, he couldn't shake the feeling that something was off, though he couldn't quite put his finger on it. But with a witch for a girlfriend who can even bring the dead back to life, what did he have to worry about? At that moment, Alaric was getting ready to head home, but considering that Elena and Jeremy had no other family left, he decided he would stay with them for good. Jeremy was finally starting to mature.
Thank you for everything. You can thank me tomorrow. And the day after that. The day after
Aw, dude, come on, I knew you were listening.
Late at night, Jeremy was awakened by noises from downstairs, only to find Alaric fast asleep. He immediately became alert, unaware that a ghostly figure had appeared behind him. That ghost was none other than Jeremy's ex-girlfriend Vicky, who had been following him around undetected. With the ghosts of two ex-girlfriends now haunting him, Jeremy was left completely stunned. Due to Stefan's heavy consumption of human blood, he had fully embraced his darker side and become Klaus's loyal henchman. Klaus compelled a girl to gain entry into the house. It turned out that the sisters were involved with werewolves. Stefan blocked the back door, forcing the sisters to confess the werewolves' whereabouts. Klaus wasn't lying, he wasn't the serial killer, but his lackey Stefan was.
Kill this one quickly. Make that one suffer. I'll be in the car.
It turned out that several months had passed since Klaus had taken Stefan away. Klaus and Stefan had searched for the werewolves, traveling from place to place, slaughtering their way through. and finally found a clue about the werewolves. As the girl begged for mercy, Stefan's expression remained cold. In a flash, he lunged and sank his teeth into her neck, filling the room with the sound of her piercing screams. A smirk curled across Klaus's lips. His Ripper vampire had truly earned his reputation. Later, Stefan and Klaus tracked down the werewolf Ray in a bar. Ray didn't realize that these two vampires were so bold. Stefan bewitched everyone in the bar. After feeding on human blood, he became more powerful than ever before. Klaus revealed his hybrid identity, claiming that he was there to give the werewolves a gift. He demanded that Ray reveal the location of the pack, promising that every werewolf would benefit from this gift. But Ray refused to cooperate. The vampire could not hypnotize and control the werewolves, so Klaus looked to Stefan. Stefan scratched his head. This was going to be tricky. Then, Stefan pulled out a small bag of wolfsbane. For the past few months, Elena has been tirelessly searching for any sign of Stefan. She passed all the leads she found to Damon, but every single one turned up nothing. Damon continued to act nonchalant, as if he didn't care whether his brother lived or died. But in reality, Damon was secretly investigating behind Elena's back, because he couldn't let Klaus find out that Elena was still alive. This morning, after getting a lead from Sheriff Forbes, Elena rushed to share it with Damon, only to catch him walking around naked. Although Damon and Elena had confessed their feelings for each other when Damon was on the brink of death, Elena refused to acknowledge it because it happened under such dire circumstances. Damon didn't take advantage of the situation either. His brother had turned into a Ripper to save him. How could he steal his brother's girl at a time like this? Damon was determined to compete fairly. Later, Damon and Alaric followed the lead to the crime scene. When Damon saw the bodies of the two girls, he immediately knew it was Stefan's doing. The two girls were seated on the couch, their faces peaceful.
Sure. There's a reason they call him the Ripper.
Apparently, when Stefan overindulged in blood, he would go completely berserk and tear his victims apart. But when he came to his senses, he would be overcome with remorse for his crimes, so he would piece the bodies back together as a form of apology. The brutality of the Ripper was on full display. Stefan's actions were bound to attract too much attention, so Damon decided to burn down the house to cover for his brother. But in the process, they discovered a hidden room used to imprison werewolves. They deduced that Klaus had been hunting for werewolves, and Stefan had become his killing machine. Today was Elena's birthday, and Caroline invited Tyler over to help set up the party. Things had been getting increasingly flirty between them, but neither of them was willing to break the tension. Meanwhile, ever since Jeremy came back to life, the ghosts of his two ex-girlfriends had been haunting him, leaving him jumpy and more exhausted as time went on. He couldn't figure out if they were just hallucinations or actual ghosts. While Stefan was torturing a werewolf, one of Klaus's informants reported that Damon was getting too close. Stefan immediately grew anxious.
My brother's still on our trail? He's getting closer. I'm gonna have to deal with that. No.
To protect his brother, Stefan swore to Klaus that he would take care of the problem. He vowed that for the rest of his life, he would serve Klaus without question, ensuring that his brother never harbored any hope again. Today was Elena's birthday, and Damon's gift was something truly special. The necklace Damon gave her had originally been a gift from Stefan, but it had been lost along the way. Now, Damon had found it, making it a birthday present from both brothers. Caroline has organized a lively birthday party, which makes Elena very helpless. Meanwhile, after her shift, reporter Andy was getting ready to head to the birthday party when suddenly, a bright light flooded the studio. Thinking it was just a prank, Andy took a couple of steps to the side, but the light followed her. Panic set in, and she bolted for the exit, only to trip over something in her path. A figure emerged from the light, and within seconds, stood right in front of Andy. It was Stefan, who had been missing for so long, and Andy let out a sigh of relief.
Oh my God, what are you doing here? We have been looking everywhere for you.
But Stefan remained silent, staring at Andy with a cold, emotionless gaze. At the birthday party, Caroline grew jealous when she saw Tyler dancing with another girl. She compelled the girl to stay away from Tyler, leaving him confused. Damon suddenly received a text from Andy, asking him to pick her up at the TV station, so he reluctantly left the protection duty to Alaric. After Damon left, Elena discovered Damon's clue board in his room, realizing that Damon had been secretly searching for Stefan all along. When Damon arrived at the TV station, he finally came face to face with the brother he'd been so desperately searching for. Stefan wasn't interested in catching up. He accused Damon of making things worse and told him to stop following him. Damon, however, was concerned.
Walking a fine line there, my friend. Keep that up and there will be no saving you.
See, the thing is,
I don't need any saving. I just want you to let me go.
In truth, Stefan was protecting his brother. If Klaus got involved, Damon would surely be killed. But Stefan knew his brother too well. Reasoning with him wouldn't work. Stephen had to shout up to Andy. That's when Damon noticed Andy standing on the platform, clearly under compulsion.
Hey, Andy. You can move now.
No!
Andy fell to her death. Even though Damon had never truly loved Andy, he had developed feelings for her after spending so much time together. By the time Damon snapped out of it, Stefan had already vanished. When Damon returned home, a furious Elena confronted him, demanding to know why he had been sneaking around. She looked like a fool, full of hope but completely helpless. Under Elena's relentless questioning, Damon finally confessed that Stefan was beyond saving. All those murders weren't Klaus's doing, they were Stefan's. Damon hadn't wanted to tell Elena the truth, but tonight, Stefan had broken his heart. Elena refused to believe it. Damon didn't know the reasons behind Stefan's actions, but Stefan had undeniably changed. To protect the people he loves, Stefan didn't hesitate to kill the innocent. Stefan became even more sinister and bloodthirsty than Damon. Meanwhile, Damon, influenced by Elena, had started to care about others. The birthday party forced Caroline and Tyler to confront their true feelings for each other, and they finally faced their emotions head-on. To avoid awkwardness, Matt hitched a ride home with Jeremy, but with the ghosts of his two ex-girlfriends haunting him, Jeremy was too scared to drive.
You know what, maybe we should just walk.
He ended up confiding in Matt about his ghostly encounters. Matt, however, thought Jeremy was just overwhelmed with grief. While the town had seen its fair share of supernatural events, the idea of ghosts seemed too far-fetched. Meanwhile, under Klaus's relentless torture, Ray revealed the location of the werewolf pack. Klaus then forced his blood down Ray's throat before snapping his neck. It turned out that Klaus was hunting for the werewolves to create his own race, a hybrid of werewolves and vampires. At this moment, Stefan returned as promised. Klaus knew that Stefan still held onto his humanity, but Klaus didn't mind. Love was a vampire's greatest weakness, and if Klaus killed Damon, how could he keep Stefan in line? No wonder Klaus had sealed away the other originals this way. He had no weaknesses. Evil Stefan acted erratically and ruthlessly, but he was also pitiful. After tonight, Elena would be 18, and Alaric decided it was time to move out. He has been in a daze for a while, drinking all day, and is really not a good role model.
You can do all this alone now. You can do better without me.
Away from Klaus, Stefan's vulnerable side was fully exposed, and he felt utterly miserable. For months, Stefan had been resisting the urge to call Elena, but today, after breaking his brother's heart, he needed a glimmer of light in his dark world. So, Stefan dialed Elena's number, but Elena wasn't near her phone. Was he going to miss his chance? Luckily, Elena heard the phone ring. When she picked it up, she saw it was an unknown number.
Hello?
Stefan?
Stefan, if this is you, you'll be okay. I love you, Stefan. Hold on to that. Never let that go.
At dawn, Caroline tried to sneak out of Tyler's house, but she was caught red-handed by Carol, leaving her deeply embarrassed.
Get my purse again.
You're the hybrid.
You've heard of me. Fantastic.
No one would dare challenge an original vampire, especially one with werewolf blood. Klaus's plan was to turn the werewolves here into vampires, creating hybrids like himself who wouldn't be bound by the moon or harmed by sunlight. The werewolves, though furious, didn't dare speak out. At that moment, the test subject Ray woke up. He was just one step away from completing his transformation into a vampire. All he needed was to drink human blood. Conveniently, one of the werewolves had brought along a human companion, so Stefan used the man's blood to help Ray complete his transformation. Klaus wasn't idle either. He forced the other werewolves present to drink his blood.
She'll thank me for that later.
Meanwhile, Damon had given up on searching for Stefan, so Elena turned to Alaric for help. From Alaric, she learned that Klaus had been tracking werewolves, so if they found the werewolf gathering, they might find Klaus and Stefan. It just so happened that there was a werewolf in town. Tyler. This morning, Carol, suspicious of her son's identity, added vervain to Tyler's coffee. Feeling uneasy, Carol brought up Caroline in a conversation with Tyler. When Tyler drank the coffee without any adverse reaction, Carol finally breathed a sigh of relief. Tyler just thought the coffee had gone bad. What Carol didn't know was that werewolves aren't affected by vervain. She then made a phone call, addressing the person on the other end as Bill.
I've gotten myself into a bit of a vampire situation.
Elena approached Tyler to ask where the werewolves were gathering. Tyler cooperatively gave Elena an address, feeling guilty because Stefan had become what he was now, all because Tyler had bitten Damon. When Tyler found out that Elena hadn't seen Caroline either, it made him suspicious. Determined to find out what happened to Caroline, Tyler swallowed his pride and asked Matt, but Matt didn't know anything either. Tyler tasted the coffee at the bar and complained that it tasted as bad as the coffee at my house. Matt chuckled and revealed, "It's the vervain, I added vervain." Tyler immediately realized what was going on. His mother had been testing him this morning, and Caroline's disappearance was likely connected to her. Meanwhile, Carol's contact, Bill, arrived. His imposing, muscular build gave off an intimidating presence. One look at him and you could tell he was a tough character. Carol confessed her dilemma. She had watched Caroline grow up, and even though Caroline had become a vampire, she couldn't bring herself to harm her. Bill fell silent for a moment. After learning that Carol hadn't told anyone else, he advised her in a tone that left no room for refusal.
She's a vampire, Carol. We do what we have to do.
Elsewhere, Elena and Alaric arrived at the forest. Alaric had returned to his old ways, developing a wolfsbane grenade to fight the werewolves. Elena, on the other hand, gave Alaric the family heirloom, a resurrection ring. After some hesitation, Alaric accepted the ring. Just as Elena was about to scout the area, the next moment she was suddenly hurled into the river.
Thanks for the tip, brother.
Damon had a tough exterior but a soft heart. How could he let Elena risk her life alone? Meanwhile, Klaus slaughtered all the werewolves, a necessary step for their transformation into vampires. Ray was entering the final stage of his transformation. While waiting for the results, Klaus revealed to Stefan that he was building a hybrid army in preparation for a war. Stefan couldn't imagine who could make Klaus so wary, but Klaus refused to say any more. At that moment, something went wrong with Ray. Blood began pouring from his eyes, leaving Klaus puzzled. Meanwhile, the werewolves started to come back to life. As the only human there, the man who was brought along was likely about to be drained of his blood. In that instant, Ray managed to escape, and Stefan rushed after him. During their confrontation, Ray bit Stefan's arm. Stefan was about to continue his pursuit when he heard a familiar sound. It turned out that Damon and the others were approaching the area. To prevent them from being discovered, Stefan quickly diverted Klaus's attention. Klaus's blood could heal a werewolf bite, but there was a catch. Stefan had to bring Ray back.
Can't be serious. You better hurry, because that bite looks nasty.
Klaus was so absorbed in his cruel and grand plan that he didn't notice Damon and the others nearby, unaware that all the werewolves' transformations were going horribly wrong.